Well, just talk about what you saw from looking at the film from yesterday's game.
It was okay. We obviously played an opponent that we should have beaten. I thought they played very hard, but we got to play a lot of players, and I think that helped some of our young guys a little bit, and then some that just needed the reward. They've been working hard on the practice field. We were okay. We weren't, you know, we were on cue, and kids looked like they were focused. I think we had 5 missed assignments, and 2 missed assignments and 5 missed tackles, you know, the whole day. So it was good, and I thought our players handled the whole week correctly. That we were focused, we got better, and one of the things about it is we were not trying to look ahead, but there's so much similarity in Western Carolina and Texas A&M, and actually previously Ole Miss, as far as formations and quite a few plays, and in some of the routes. So, you know, to have had a bad week of practice and a bad week of performance, or a bad day of performance, would have certainly been something that would have hurt us, not just Saturday, but on down the road. So we were very pleased about the whole attitude, the focus, the approach for the whole week, and especially Saturday too.
Is there anybody who, down that depth chart, who did get to play, who you were surprised or took a positive outlook based on how they played yesterday?
Well, there were several young men that got to play just because we wanted to make sure they got the reward of playing some of our scout teamers. We've been playing some other guys. Kamryn Melton's been playing a little bit, and King's been playing, Mackenro's been playing. A lot of those guys got reps, a little bit more reps than they've been getting, and played very well. All that helps. It just helps to be out there on a game field in front of a game crowd. And all those are 1AA opponent. Those guys are pretty good athletes, and they're going to, speed-wise, it was certainly challenging. So it was good for all of them to get all those extra repetitions.
You say the offenses are similar, but I guess obviously the talent level is different. So.
Well, it's just totally different, but the formation recognition and the adjustments and the calls and the checks, and we'll always tweak a game plan. But when you talk about trips, or you talk about doubles, or you talk about this mode, this formation, the more players see it, the more comfortable they are in adjusting to it, and so there's some carryover there that's going to help us. Just to give you an example, LSU was a total change for us from what we had been working against. And in those 3 days, we had to totally go back toward more of an old pro style offense and inside running game with fullbacks and those type things. So other than just the physicality of it, you have to kind of change some X's and O's and some different fundamentals and things where players fit together. And so it helps now to have had 2 or 3 opponents in a row where they've been more in the one-back spread mode, and they all have different plays they lean on. And obviously Texas A&M's got great physical talent, but the formation recognition, especially when they start speeding it up, because they're a fast-paced team too, that's just going to help us, to have been looking at those formations and being aligned in the same things.
Ellis, they're the #1 statistical offense in the conference, one of the top in the country. That statistically, when you look at them, is this the top offense you've seen this far?
It's the top production. They don't have a soft spot. They've got great receivers. They got 2 NFL-looking tight ends that don't even get on the field with about 10, 12 snaps a game. Obviously, the quarterback is what makes them dynamic, but they'd be a really good football team even if he wasn't on the field. They'd be a very, very good football team. Got a really good offensive line. The running backs are, they got depth, they got rotation. They're all good running backs. They catch the ball well, they run the ball well, they pass protect well. Obviously, Manziel is the most dynamic player in the country right now, as far as with the ball in his hands. But at the same time, he got great players around him, and that's what makes it so hard. I mean, there are a lot of football teams putting up big numbers that do things differently than they do, and it boils down to having really good players and a system that the coach knows and knows how to operate, and it's very difficult to slow them down.
Ellis, what is it about Manziel? I mean, there's other fast and quick guys.
Well,
what is it about him that makes him so hard to
anytime you have the kind of production he has, there are a lot of things. You can't just point to 1 or 2 things. The things I think that really separate him, he obviously has great mobility, but the thing that makes him extremely difficult is on top of that mobility, he has a lot of vision when he's scrambling. He sees a lot of stuff down the field. So you're running, you're trying to run him down, and maybe your front guys can't catch him, and you don't know when to come out of coverage. Do you pull the trigger and come get him now, or do you stay back here because this guy's going to be wandering open and he can find him? But that's the thing that I think is so hard. I mean, if you got a fast guy, you put some more fast guys on the field. You know, but at the same time, when he's moving around back there, he has tremendous vision downfield. And he's got great accuracy too. Sometimes he'll get aggressive on some throws and take some chances, but more times than not, he gets away with it because he's got great location and velocity on the ball.
So this is something defensively where you're trying to take away one part. If he's so dynamic, you just try to maybe limit one part of his game, whether it's running, passing. Is that something you try to do or what?
You know, sometimes you take that approach. I really don't know how we do that as much as, you know, they're so balanced. If you just try to take one element away, I really think the other element's gonna beat you just as bad. What you have to do, anytime you have a team like them that has good players in every spot, you have to get it out of your mind that you're gonna stop them. You have to disrupt them, you have to slow them down, you have to get some takeaways, you have to play really good in the red zone. When the spread offenses came along, I was talking to a coach that ran it, and he wanted to know what he should be evaluating his defensive coordinator on. And I said, as long as you're going to run that type of offense, you better evaluate him on takeaways, red zone defense, and explosive gains. In other words, eliminating big plays. Because I said, they're never going to stop anybody as long as you keep running that offense, because there's no physicality on the other side. So the problem with these offenses, when you get great players in them, it's like the wishbones of the 70s that used to put up 70 points. You can't stop them. You got to find a way to disrupt them. You got to take away the explosive plays. You got to get a negative yardage play and have a way to get off the field the next play. You got to get a turnover. You got to play great down in the red zone. And that's the only way you're going to manage the points.